Welcome to this segment of Soul, Silence, and Sound. This is brought to you by BeSimply.
Stars, trees, clouds, and the moon. They all have a meaning and they look just like you.
Welcome to this segment of Soul, Silence, and Sound. And we're pretty much just floating between the incoming full moon and that midpoint between the new and full moon. So in this moment, this is when it all orchestrated for this segment to be recorded. So we're going with the flow. And what I've been attuning to, because we've had a lot of upheaval, especially here in North America and in many parts of the world. So one, I want to acknowledge each and every one of you. If you're in a location that you are facing unexpected situations to your ecosystem, you're being asked and forced to reface the reality that you had built. My heart goes out to you. I'm praying overtime right now, and many others are. And what I wanted to talk today about was on a soul level. I label it as soul sun, and our heart focus and pure attention. This leads us to being human, humanity. And what we are seeing, especially here in North America and via social media mechanism, which allows our eyes to go to different locations around the world in an instant to provide support and to provide prayer and intention. And one thing that is really powerful is to see the humanity in one another and the willingness to pray, hold vision, hold your heart space for those that are suffering or could potentially suffer in a man-made or AKA perceptual natural disaster or an act of war. And this is such a beautiful, beautiful aspect of our condition. And I want to point my attention and your attention to this aspect of each and every one of you. And while theology tends to sometimes, not always, but tends to separate because people feel they have to fight for that word and that their way is the right way, and there's only one way to get where one perceives that one is going. And this is based on limited practice and limited knowledge and putting sometimes blind faith in some of these texts that people find solace in. And as I've mentioned before, there is nothing wrong with that. It's what you do with it that speaks volumes. So if you're going to read a text and cause harm, you are immediately out of this pure field divinity that runs through all of us. Because causing harm is the polar opposite of being even transcended or being beyond. And so the reason I point to that is that right now what I'm witnessing is all these people coming together and praying, meditating, holding intention based on their heart space and that they want to see no harm done. And so one of the most altruistic ways to be of service to another is, one, to do it silently, anonymously, number two, and number three, not take credit for it. So if you are applying these efforts and you feel they yielded a positive outcome, it would be encouraged from me to you not to boast about what you perceive to be, because we are a collective field of consciousness that is a tapestry, that is energy that's constantly weaving and flowing. And it's when we put the meaning behind it that things can get mucky. So, that saying, where your attention flows, your energy will go. So if you're doing something altruistic and you're praying, meditating, or holding vision for yourself and others, it's best to keep it silent and keep it close to your heart. The more people you tell about it, the more people are going to weigh in. This is the same when or if anyone is in disharmony, aka they have some type of prognosis labeled by a doctor, that the more people you tell, yes, you might get support, but people can hold a pretty strong decision in their mind about your fate. And that's why it's so important when you're in a rebalancing situation, if possible, keep it as quiet as possible. Now, if you do need your community's support for many different reasons, then share as you wish, but use discernment. So when we move from our soul and with heart focus, where we are holding ourselves at the highest possible level, and this is where your faith will give you a sense, as long as it's not a practice that causes harm, it will give you a sense of how to hold that. You could be a yogi, you could be a Taoist, you could be a Hindu, you could be a Christian, you could be a Muslim, you could be anything. Within those texts, I'm quite certain there are practices to keep your resonance at a higher state of being and to work towards that. Now, when we look at some of the sciences like yogic science, or Buddhism isn't really a religion, it's actually a mind training. Yet the aspiration within these practices is to hold love, to hold compassion, to move beyond suffering, to transcend suffering. And so no matter how you want to approach life, or you want to go in the forest and you feel so held by nature, it's beautiful. And if you hold that vision for your fellow human, that they have the peace and all that support of nature that you feel around you, that's a beautiful effort too. So it's not dependent on a belief system or a esoteric text. What it is dependent on is your heart, and it is interdependent on your willingness to do for others, to be kind to one another, to be of service to one another within your capacity. You don't have to overextend yourself. You can do simple things like picking trash up off the street, saying hello, caring for one another. It's that simple. And so right now, people around the world are, I think, connecting the dots that there's a vulnerability within the imbalance that we've co-created. And that's quickly shifting. However, it still requires our attention and our daily willingness to hold that vision, to hold that prayer, to hold that meditation for one another through a heart focus, through pure intention. And for each and every one of you, you might have different words or syntax to describe that. However, it's really up to you to really hold it in the resonance that you wish. And it kind of works like this, as soon as there was the destabilization in the southeast quadrant of North America through the first wave of storms, leading into that, I saw and experienced some things that were very traumatizing and were about to unfold towards 4 or 5 days later. And then when they happened, to kind of relive what I had seen. And so in that moment, kind of leading into it and then unfolding, there's a level of acceptance that, wow, we're vulnerable to certain things that might have been, I call mile markers, a predestined mile marker. And with that awareness, it allows us to expand our vision and say, hey, how do we do this differently? Like, how do we do this differently? And how do we hold each other in a way that can be supportive? We may not be able to mitigate every single disaster, micro or macro, in the near future. However, we can start to shift our consciousness so that we're moving from a heart focus. So as I share that example of having that vision and then having it start to unfold, I would remember the elders. They have always taught me, since I was in my dreaming attention young, but even as an adult, that when one has vision, it doesn't mean that one can change the outcome. Those sometimes are fixed. Yet it is to hold prayer for those that might be transitioning. It is to hold vision for the bigger lesson that we are to learn as a human race, so that we can actually mitigate a lot of this destruction that's unnecessary. And this is where we are being welcomed to get radically honest with ourselves, because if one believes that someone deserves something bad to happen to them, this would be a diminishing from a mind perspective, from a meditation, yogic, or Buddhist or Taoist perspective, meaning that you believe that just because that they deserve to suffer, and that would degrade their system. Just by you thinking it helps participate in the degradation, rather than feeling like, wow, I just really want everyone to be at peace. I really want everyone no longer to have to suffer, and that everyone is provided for, that they have prosperity, that they have food, they have water, they have shelter. That shifts the quality of the consciousness, not that someone deserves to suffer. And yes, the one thing that you can count on is that we have this thing called cause and effect. It's scientific and it's quite spiritual too. And meaning that for every action we take, we are either giving or taking. And then at some point we have to balance the scales. And so collectively, this is happening on many levels, and on a micro level, it's happening. And how we can reconcile those actions is to take responsibility for them when we realize that maybe we made a mistake. And basically, all humans, I want to share, you are doing very minor actions as compared to the manifestation of overt action taken by those that are attempting to control consciousness. So I want to really, because humanity, we have consciousness and compassion and love and care. And sometimes that can put us in a position to overtake the responsibility, to actually enable the predator, because we feel like, oh, it's all our fault. And that's not the case. But what you can do, and what was seen really by everyone holding their vision and consciousness, that helps mitigate potentially some of the disaster. And if anything, it prepares people to give and help one another even after something happens. It's like being aware that something could happen and willing to help and serve and do unto others as you want done unto you. To love your neighbors, whether they're down the street, across the country, across the earth plane, wherever they are. This is your opportunity to really choose where you stand. So as we're entering into this full moon coming up in several days, and this is going to all roll together, it's really an opportunity for you to anchor in your heart and where you want to focus. And how I even personally put this into action is that because I saw and experienced all the sliding and flooding, and actually as if I were in it, in that moment, that created really a trauma response in my eternal being. And then remembering pray and continue to pray. And so with that gave us, well, me, a remembrance that here I am in trauma. And then I had to go teach. And then when it happened, I had to go teach again. And most people didn't even know that the disaster had occurred. So what I did is I shifted my consciousness into the divine, into the purest energy I can ever remember accessing, so that I could be of service to my class, to my students, because it doesn't help anyone for me to bring a trauma field in. It does help for everyone to feel as close as I can get to that word and that energy from my heart to assist everyone. And I really feel, as I was observing people all over the world as we were leading into the next storm, is that people were really ready. They were ready to hold that intention. Now, many people still were impacted in ways that maybe others aren't aware. So even if you were praying and you feel it was successful, remember that people still were harmed, and there was a lot of destruction still. However, your effort isn't for nil, because it continues to build. It's like dropping a pebble in the water, and you make that initial effort and it continues to grow and flow. This is why in Eastern practices with the mind and the heart is that for every action, whether it's positive or negative, it will grow. And that's where one stops to think like, okay, well, how much is this going to grow and grow? So I want to encourage you all in this moment to continue to feed yourself and your community, your families, with as purest intention and focus as possible, and to really get to know what it means to be human. We all, because we are in human suits, are suffering on some level. And if we acknowledge that, yet choose to step outside of the suffering to be of service to one another, it will help you transcend the trauma response, and it will also help you spread waves of goodness, of divinity, love, compassion, empathy out in and around everywhere that you go, and to places far and wide. And the other component I want to share about this is because when Gandhi was here, his ability with his mind and his practices through his system reached very far, very wide. But it takes focus, it takes dedication, and it takes a willingness to stay there. And so our minds are our most powerful tool, I will call them. I don't want to call them a weapon, because they're not intended to harm. But they're a very powerful tool, and the most powerful tool is your heart. And so when you stay in a resonance of love, peace, equanimity, compassion, that will help transcend all and help give those that are facing their darkest hour reassurance, and help them anchor in so that they can keep moving forward. Sometimes it's that overwhelming that one does not know if they can keep moving forward because of something external that was beyond their control, or something internal that is within their control yet they still might need to stabilize. So as we go into this first full moon of fall and spring, the emotions and energies are potent. And so I encourage you, one, to anchor into the divinity that runs through your heart, anchor into the earth, and really practicing clearing your mind, holding a clear vision for yourself and others. And if you hold animosity, negativity, dark thoughts for yourself or anyone, I encourage you to sweep them out. They don't belong. They don't serve. Let them go with those falling leaves. Let them become compost in that nice fresh soil that's going to be planted for the spring goers right now. And that will make your way a little bit easier in this moment. So, as inspired, anchor in your heart, find the purest intention you can hold every single day. Remember your humanity. And let's get to know that soul. That's your eternal being. It extends long beyond this perceptual world. So, with that being said, I welcome you to rise up to a seated position. And then take a nice, gentle breath in. And exhale out. Again, inhale. And exhale. Another one, inhale. And exhale. Good. And as you continue to breathe in and out, I welcome you to use your breath as your mantra and focus on a focal point down in front of you. gently from there, I welcome you to gently lean back and recline or move fully into Shavasana, a prone position on your back with your palms facing upward as we transition into receiving sound. As you settle in, just take a nice gentle breath into the heart and out. Again, inhale. And exhale. And one more inhale. And exhale. And then continue to follow your natural breathing pattern. Anondo ane ai, ane ane ano ane ai, ane ane ram, ane ane ram. Adondo ane je ai, ane ane ado ane ai, ane 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 adondo ane alam, ane ane ano ane ai, ane 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 adondo ane ai, ane ane lam, ano ane ai, ane ane ram, ane ane ram. Taking a soft, gentle breath, breathing in and out, welcoming you to be here, connecting to my speaking voice. And when you're ready, just simply rising up into that seated position. And just simply allowing everything from the journey, from the start to here, to wash over you. And to welcome each and every one of you to really take a pause and reflect how you can utilize your heart and a clear mind, optimally clear mind and clear vision, not only to assist you in well-being, but to assist your fellow humanity in well-being. See, when the mind is at peace and no longer talking negatively to self or others through the mind, through the mouth, through actions, that means that there is no harm, no violence to anyone. And so daily, if you are inspired to walk through the heart and serve from the heart, serve yourself and others, I feel you will find it quite beautiful. Just a soft, gentle gaze, and to lead with your heart, and to hold a vision that's for the benefit, to the best of your knowledge, for all. So, with that being said, I want to thank all of you for being here in this moment. I also want to thank Random Rab, Dante Marino, and Kadri Scott for all contributing in your own special way. And we're going to exit out with little Kadri Scott. And as inspired, please support your fellow humans. It's hand to hand. It's not so much from the top down anymore. We're all going to be weaving this new frontier together. So, with that being said, I once again thank you all with a gentle smile, a soft gaze, a deep bow, and a namaste. Be simply.
Something changed. It'll feel so strange now. And if you show what remains, I will never say no. And like a river flows, my love remains, but I'm not ready to let go. So please just stay. lost your faith? Don't you feel so strange now? And how do you know people change if they never say so? And like a river flows, your love has strayed and you're ready to let go. I do the same, Jasmine. Warm air and cinnamon and wood burning. Children laughing and people passing, the world spins and we just stand still. Jasmine, warm air and cinnamon and wood burning. Children laughing and people passing, the world spins and we just stand still. We are love, what remains? Everything's so clear now. And what do you know? People change, but they never say